Experience has to matter. Let's move on. Like I said, it's the end of an era in Golden State. Somebody over here on TikTok earlier said it's not the end of an era. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it's the end of an era. Look at what Klay Thompson did last night. Just look at Klay. No points. Did nothing. Nothing. 0 for 10. Couldn't get a layup. Couldn't get to the line. No points. He's not the same guy. We understand why. First of all, he's older. Second of all, injuries. But it happens. It happens. But he's not the same guy that he was before. That's clear. Steph is 36 years old. He's going to be 37 next year. You know, Draymond is what he is. First, personally, I thought Draymond played pretty good basketball down the stretch this year. I thought he played pretty good basketball down the stretch. But if you're relying on Draymond Green to try to get you 12 to 18 points a night, your team is terrible because, number one, he's not going to be able to do that. He's not capable of that. So that's the first thing. And your team is terrible if you're relying on that. I think they got to get younger. I think they got to start to rebuild. I know some people are saying, well, why would you throw away? You know, they weren't that far away. Well, Klay Thompson is a shell of himself. And he's a free agent. How much money are you going to allocate paying to Klay Thompson? Like, what are you going to give Klay Thompson a year? I know he said, well, I'll take less. Well, Klay, I'm sorry, my man. You have no choice but to take less. I mean, you can't go out here demanding a max deal or $20 million a year. Nobody's going to pay you that. There isn't a team in this league that is going to pay Klay Thompson in his current self $20 million a year. We had Draymond out there begging for him last night saying, you know, if this team doesn't take care of the players that have taken care of it. Well, what are you talking about? You've won 4 titles. He was an intricate part of that. They paid you to play. So now when you're not as good anymore, they have to continue to give you that money? For what? Why do they have to do that? I don't think they have to do that at all. So that's just my personal opinion. No, they don't. It's the end of an era. They got to start over. They got to get younger. Klay's not going to be on the team anymore. I just don't think he's going to be there. And not to mention, Golden State owner said, I'm done paying the luxury tax. And I agree. If you're not going to win, what's the point in paying the luxury tax? You know, he could offset the luxury tax when they were going to finals, making deep playoff runs. You know, you can offset that and actually make money. So he was fine paying it. But now you're not making the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years. I think he's out on that. I think he's out on that. And I would be out on it too. And I think that's where he's at with it. I don't know what's going on with TikTok today. But yeah, I believe that's where the Golden State owner is at with this thing. He's just like, look, if we're not going to make the playoffs, I'm not paying this. Matter of fact, we got to start getting younger now. We got to start over. We're going to keep Steph. They got 3 years left on Draymond, which I think is a silly, insane contract that they signed him to. Why? I have no idea. But Draymond's wrong. Draymond is usually wrong, talking about you're not going to take care of the players that have taken care of you. I think they have taken care of you. They paid you an exorbitant amount of money. It's a two-way street. And now you're asking for the organization to pay you this exorbitant amount when you're not good anymore. Sorry, that's not the way business works. No business works that way. So, because when you were at your peak, you asked for peak dollars. And guess what? You got it. You got peak dollars. So, Mike the Ruler, they know it's over. Ain't no calling KD this time. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because the last time Golden State was in trouble, they called KD. And KD made it happen for him. Can't call KD this time. You can't call KD this time. So, where they go from here will be interesting. I like Golden State. I think they got to start over. We'll see Kuminga and Moody. We'll see what they can do. We'll see what they can do in the draft. Jackson Davis, I think, is a good big man. He started getting more minutes. I thought he should have played more last night than what he did, unless he was hurt. I thought he should have gotten more minutes. That's Steve Kerr not trusting what has been working for you. All of a sudden, you get into a play-in tournament game, and now you want to shrink your bench. Doesn't make sense, especially when what has been working for you to help you get to this point, and then you go away from that. So we'll see. How long do you guys think Steve Kerr is going to be the coach? That's a big question. I got into a debate yesterday about that. How long do you think Steve Kerr is actually going to be the coach in Golden State? I don't know how long. I really don't. I don't know how long. You know, whether he goes somewhere else or he just stops doing it. I think he goes somewhere else before he stops doing it. I think Kerr will go somewhere else because he's going to want to prove that he can coach without Steph Curry. I think he's going to want to do that. Unless he just stays there and he's going to be a Golden State lifer. I know he just signed that new deal. Maybe he's going to be a lifer there and kind of do the pop thing. So, where do I think he goes if he goes somewhere else? I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. Is Steve Kerr a guy that builds a team? Like, is he a guy that, you know, he's going to be there? There's going to be some lean years the first couple of years. And then all of a sudden he builds and builds. Because Steve Kerr hadn't been that coach. He hadn't been a coach where you're just building a roster, you know, and you get slapped around for a couple of years. He hasn't been that. So, I don't know. You know where I'd like to see Steve Kerr? Throw him in Milwaukee. Throw Steve Kerr in Milwaukee. Because we know Doc Rivers, come on, people, what are we doing? We know Doc Rivers is done. So throw Steve Kerr in Milwaukee and see if he can get something done. See what he can do in Milwaukee. Now, I don't know that they have the pieces to play the way that Steve Kerr plays, you know, but can Steve Kerr adapt? Can he adapt to what he has? You know what I'm saying? It's not like Giannis can't play basketball. You just don't have the multitude of three-point shooters that you have now. But can Steve Kerr adapt, or can he only play one way? I'd love to see it. Yeah, Mark Jackson got Golden State started. Absolutely. Why Mark Jackson hasn't gotten another job is absolutely ridiculous. He must have done something. I don't know. So, I don't know. I think Mark Jackson, if he wants a job, he should have a job. And I think he's pretty much said, I wanted another job. Nobody's hired me. Instead, you give Doc Rivers another chance. Like, why is Doc Rivers still a coach in the NBA? It's just crazy to me. Doc Rivers has no business coaching NBA basketball anymore. And the NBA was pretty much done with him. That's why he took the analyst job at ESPN. But even then, did we think Doc Rivers was a better NBA analyst than Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson? Like, what does Doc Rivers have on people that he keeps getting jobs? Lord have mercy. Oh, my God, this guy, everything, I mean, he gets a job over proven guy. Like, for instance, Adrian Griffin wasn't a proven head coach. But Adrian Griffin was 30-13, The same team that Doc Rivers went 17-19 with. Same team. I go 30-13. That's not good enough. Doc Rivers comes in, and they're 17-19. Somebody's going to have to explain that to me. Oh. So we'll see. Klay Thompson is not going to be Klay Thompson's not going to be with Golden State, I don't think. Because I don't think the owners, I think they're just like, no, we're done. At some point, you've got to make decisions like that. They may be unpopular, but Klay Thompson can't play like he played before. What is Klay going to be a rotational guy? Is that what we want to see? Hey, Klay, look, you can stay in Golden State, but you're going to be a rotational guy. 18, 19 minutes a night. That's all you're going to get. And at this point, that's all he deserves. You're going to be 18, 19 minutes a night. So if you want to stay for that, we're going to pay you based on that, and you can stay. If not, we love you. We'll build a statue out here one of these days, but you're done. And Klay having all that talk. Remember how mad Klay was about not being on the top 75? First of all, I didn't think Klay Thompson is a top 75 player in the NBA to begin with. Am I wrong? Does anybody think that he is? Because I don't. A guy that can't dribble. One of the greatest shooters ever. I'll give him that. But I don't think that he's one of the top 75 players in NBA history. I don't believe that. I don't believe that even a little bit. You can name 35 guards just probably off the top of your head that are better than Klay Thompson. That's my personal opinion. So it's not that Klay's bad. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but top 75 in NBA history? Come on, people. Come on now. No. No. And again, that doesn't make him a bad player. It just means that he's not top 75. And he isn't. So where do they go from here? I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Like I said, I think Golden State's just got to get younger. I think they got to get younger. They got to do it fast. I mean, Steph is not getting any younger. I know he looks like he's about 28. Steph is 36. He's going to be 37 years old next year, people. He's going to be 37. Look at my man, Jay Clarkson over here. Jalen Clarkson saying that Klay had a big donut. Yeah, Klay wasn't good last night. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, man.